All right. Good morning. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine. It has been at 10. How we doing on a Tuesday, February the 24th? And thanks for popping in the show. Hey, if you're watching the replay, feel free to drop in a comment. Let us know where you're watching from as well. If you're watching live, of course, let's interact and let's have the conversation here for today. It is looking mostly cloudy out there. We have some high clouds streaming overhead, filtering out some of that sunshine. Little chilly again today. We're in the 40s, a little bit better than the 30s yesterday, and still a bit gusty. Some of the wind gusts could be over 20 miles per hour for today. It's been breezy last several days, and it will stay breezy tomorrow as well, as we're sandwiched in between strong high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north. So we have the tight gradient of isobars, lines of equal air pressure across the area. So a little bit of a breezy pattern we've been in here. Tomorrow we'll be in the 50s, and then we'll have a little bit of light rain moving in tomorrow night and into early Thursday. And then we finish fantastic the month of February with some 60s on Saturday. And there's a hint of our biggest warm up of the year, I think late next week. So we'll look at all of that coming up in the full forecast. We got the fully loaded show here for you for a Tuesday, and we're going to get to all of that here in just a second. Here's a look at, by the way, some of the high clouds, again, that are filtering out some of that sunshine out there now. And the river level is up just a little bit. It's about 4 or 5 feet above the normal pool stage, but it is still a good, say, 7 feet or so below flood stage. So no big deal there. And this is kind of like a mini crest, as it will be going back down here over the next couple of days. But the river levels just a little bit higher than normal. In fact, here's the water.noaa.gov. And boy, did we look at this page a lot last April when we had the flooding. So this is a look at, again, the normal pool is right about there. You can see that we have been above that at about 16 feet. Normal pool, 12 feet, and then staying well below flood stage. But just kind of interesting. Water levels up just a tad bit more than usual. And as we look at our current conditions out there, now we're at 25 degrees. The wind gust is at 10. Not too bad now. The winds will pick up a little bit more later on today. And I was just checking our AV audio video right there. We got our live stream up too. Oh, yeah. By the way, thanks for liking, sharing, following, or subscribing. Where do you subscribe? Right here on our YouTube channel. That's EXTOL. You can see it right there, Extol Media. And you can get our live show there every morning, of course, at 10 a.m. As we cruise on down, again, a lot of more weather resources here. Incredible. I don't know if you saw it, the blizzard of 2026 over New England, where some areas saw about 3 feet of snow, which beat a lot of the 1978, 79 historic records for those areas. So very impressive snowfall totals there, and incredible wind as well. Not much happening elsewhere on the maps. There's nothing popping up on the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather outlooks, and the weather maps are quiet here as well. This is the interactive radar where you can plot the area temperatures. You can see a little cool pocket of air over our region right now. Again, I think we're going to see the orange and yellows and the warmer temperatures for late next week. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. It is a bit gusty, as we have the air flowing from high pressure to our south up to low pressure off to our north. And the visible satellite view here does show the streaming high clouds over our area, again, providing a kind of a thin veil to filter out some of that sunshine for today. But I don't know if you saw it, but before some of the high clouds moved in, we had this gorgeous sunrise here. This was posted by Joe Navarra in Greencastle, Indiana. I posted there as well this morning. We had that nice underglow, and you can sneak the sun rays underneath a layer of clouds. You get the sun rays to bounce back with that orange and yellow color there and the pink, and it makes for a beautiful sunrise. So if you're new to the program, we get your forecast right off the bat here, the current conditions, and we'll thank some of our sponsors here briefly, and then we'll dig into the weather content, your weather history, your weather jokes, your weather countdown, your extended forecast. We'll have Ben on a limb here coming up as well. Typically around 10:20, we'll start to dig into the weather models. but a little bit warmer today than the last couple of days in the 40s with a partly to mostly cloudy sky and a south wind at around 10 to 20, a few gusts over 20. 50s for tomorrow as we continue with a southwest breeze to continue to pump in slightly warmer temperatures. So getting back to a little bit above average with our temperatures tomorrow. And then we have some rain chances late Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. Weather models coming down on those amounts as well. I don't think we'll have a whole lot of rain from that. So that's good news there, as it should not be a big deal with that little system moving on through our area. All right, let's see who's popping in the comments. As usual, we've got Beverly Haggis this morning. Hey, we'll do a cheers. Camera 2 here with the big happy this morning. Still rocking the no creamer. Delicious. All right, we've got Dennis Gregory with a good morning, sunny and nippy this morning in the 20s in Bedford, Indiana. Keith Hennessy, good morning to you, sir. Thanks for tuning in there, neighbor. And we have Connie Kurtzinger. Thanks for tuning in and dropping in the comments. Speaking of snow, my friend in New Jersey said they got a little over 2 foot of snow. Yeah, a historic storm up over New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. They had a lot too. Lillian Lasley, thanks for tuning in here this morning. What's shaking bacon from Christopher Ramos. Ramos is in the house this morning. Thanks for tuning in here. And thanks, guys, for being a part of the show, being part of the conversation. Again, if you have any weather questions or just a comment, feel free. Don't be shy to drop them right into the program here. Okay, let me bring this one back up and that back up. Again, this is extolmag.com/weather. Again, your full coverage resource, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of weather, even severe weather. It's got storm tracks, watches, warnings, especially on this map right here. You can plot temperatures, you can plot wind, you can plot whatever you want. And that shows us still in the 20s as we get started here this morning. And what else we got here? We have, I wanted to check out just the future. This is the future cast. So you hit play right here. There's not going to be much happening through tomorrow. There might be a sneaky little sprinkle overnight or tomorrow morning, but with that system off to the northeast, most of that's going to be off to the east and eastern Kentucky. And then as we head into, this is going into Wednesday night. So tomorrow night, you can start to see a little bit of light precipitation there, maybe even a few flurries in southern Indiana. That is going into Thursday afternoon as we dry out. So that's that next little system. And again, this is obviously free to use for you anytime you want. And if you click on the map, by the way, it will bring up at any point in the United States an hour-by-hour grid that takes you all the way through the rest of the week. And it's got a lot of different variables here with temperature, rain, wind gusts, and wind direction. So very detailed there. And it's got the rain amounts too. Very cool. There you go. All the resources right there. I do want to thank our partners, by the way. Speaking of which, is Ivy Tech Community College. It's Tuesday, so that means we talk about Tuesdays at the Tech. This is exit 9 miles north of Louisville. What you can do if you want to learn more about what they have to offer for you or maybe a family member, maybe a high school student with the dual credit, you can click on the one-on-one help right here, and you can schedule a visit to get in-person assistance with how to get started at Ivy Tech, registering, career development, career coaching, how to pay for college, all that stuff. They're going to make it easy and accessible for you. So check that out right there. I want to thank our partners, too, here at Grantline Nursery and Garden Center. We got our plant of the week is the pansy that we're talking about, because you can start planting the pansies. Just remember to bring them in if it gets in the 20s, too cold, but they're a pretty hardy flower for this time of the year. And if you want to get some landscaping services, of course, you can hit them up as well, right there on Grantline Road in New Albany. One of our newer partners here, Clog Busters with a Z, clearing the way one flush at a time. The plumber you want to call here, or they've got you hooked up with all the ways to message them in the bottom right-hand corner here at clogbustersplumbing.com, or you can call them 859-762-1214. I want to thank our partners, too, here at Lions Roofing, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. You get free quotes here at lionsroofingco.com. You can call them 812-294-3595. They've got you covered throughout Indiana, and Kentucky. And they do big projects even beyond that sometimes as well. And my buddy Michael Long, it's Two Tip Tuesday, by the way. So that means we're going to hear a couple tips here from Michael Long. Proud to be an American Star certified agency. You can just go to emfam.com and search Michael Long, or you can call him for a quote, 812-578-3072. Tell him I sent you. And what are the 2 tips for today? Let's bring it up here. So we've got the tip number 1 is the insurance tip. Tip number 2 is your life tip. The age of your roof is a rating factor with most insurance carriers. The newer your roof, the lower the premium. Contact your insurance company to make sure your policy has the correct roof age to ensure you're maximizing your savings opportunities. And then life tip number 2, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. There you go. Tip number 2 is usually a little bit of a joke, as you can see there. So again, there's our sponsors. We appreciate them to allow us to do what we do here on the show here this morning. Looking at some high clouds there and the Ohio River that's a little bit higher than normal this morning, but not near flood stage, thankfully. All right, we're getting to it here. We'll start to dive into the forecast. We've got a couple more comments popping in. Lillian Lasley has some sun and 29 degrees. We got a good morning from John Fox this morning. Good morning with the coffee there. We're feeling great after the energizing polar plunge at the good old Deem Lake. Good morning. Getting a quick hit of some snow. You guys might get a tiny bit up there in the Indianapolis area, probably just some sprinkles here. And we got a 27 in Hodgenville. Thank you, Orlean. And cloudy there. So just west of LaRue County and Grayson County. Lillian's got your sunshine, Orlean. I know Orlean likes that sunshine. So she's jealous of you. All right, here we go. Let's get to the forecast here, guys, on a Tuesday, February 24th. Again, a little bit warmer, 40s today. Breezy southwest winds, breezy south and southwest winds today and tomorrow, 50s tomorrow. And then some light rain. It looks like it'll be a late Wednesday night and a Thursday morning. So no big deal with that. And it looks like we'll have a bigger warm up around this time period. We're going to be looking at this with the long range data. It is Saturday, March 7th. You can see it is a good old time out there at the Tailspin Ale Fest. If you want to learn more, get tickets, tailspinalefest.com. And they've got mobile beer cruise where you can get a shuttle from participating locations. You can learn all that and more. And we've been out there several times from the very beginning, and it is getting bigger and bigger every year. Always a great time with the brews out there. And then St. Patrick's Day Parade a week later, 3 to 8 p.m. at Baxter Avenue and Bardstown Road. I just love that we're getting these events. That means we can get outside and start having a good time and get rid of this cabin fever, I guess I should say. And then there's a benefit concert. We talked about this on Extol Unfiltered yesterday morning, and we met Don and Teresa, the parents of Jessica, who passed away in 2024. So it's jessicasjourneyfoundation.com. Benefit concert, April 4th at Melwood Arts Center, including the Juicebox Heroes headlining and the Suburbans, and food trucks and drinks and a great time. They're looking for sponsors too if you're interested in that. Here's our countdown. Time change in 12 days. Spring begins in 24 days. Thunder over Louisville in 53 days. In the big old Derby Day in 67 days away. And that means that would be early May, just a little over 2 months. Is the year flying by already for you, or is it taking its time? Just kind of curious. I feel like I want it to pace itself more than it is. Just because probably because we've been pretty busy here lately. I could use the year to slow down a little bit. Easter flowers are popping up everywhere. Are those the lilies or the tulips? No one wants an ice storm. I'm looking over the comments here, Emmanuel. That's a big no. We don't want ice. Ice is not nice. Or maybe I should move to Litchfield to get a little bit of sunshine. Hey, it wouldn't be a far move for you. All right, we're back to the weather graphics and your weather history for today. So 1936, Vermont and New Hampshire, blanketed by brown snow, Muddy rain in northern New York and dust from the Great Plains were blamed for the bizarre coloring. Dust from the Great Plains storms. I'm guessing kind of the Dust Bowl era back then. And my grandma actually had to move back from the Dust Bowl, move to Montana as they were homesteading, and it didn't work out. Moved back to Indianapolis. Maybe one of the reasons I'm here today. 1969, the 100-hour storm in Boston, Massachusetts, 26 inches at Logan, 77 inches in another spot, 130 inches of snow, February total, and 164-inch snow cover at Mount Washington received 172. Just a ton of snow back in 1969. 2016, strong low pressure and cold front caused severe weather outbreak from North Carolina to Pennsylvania. 2 rare February tornadoes in central Virginia, including the first ever EF3 in Appomattox County. Here locally, 2017, Louisville sets its first 80-plus degree temperature in February. And that wasn't long ago. I mean, it doesn't seem long ago, but now it's 9 years ago. So that was the first time we ever had an 80-degree temperature in February. I remember that very. Oh, we got lilies, we got tulips, we got daffodils. I haven't seen any yet, but I believe you, Connie. I believe you. Teresa Thomas, thanks for tuning in here this morning as well and dropping in the comments. Thanks for liking, sharing, or following our live stream this morning. Whether you're watching on YouTube, thanks for the follow there. Here's your stupid weather jokes of the day, guaranteed to be extra stupid every day. I took my daughter to Take Your Kid to Work Day. She asked, "Where's all the clowns you said you work with?" If laziness was an Olympic sport, I'd get 4th place just so I wouldn't have to walk up to the podium. That's a topical. We just got done with the Olympics here. What did the digital clock say to the grandfather clock? "Look, no hands." I remember riding the bike back in the day, and hey, look, no hands. Here's your forecast today, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. 44 will do it for the high today, but hey, that's better than like the 34 we had yesterday. Partly to mostly cloudy, chilly and breezy, south wind at around 10 to 20, and our sunset at 6:31. Our low tonight, 39 degrees, so not as cold, mostly cloudy, breezy. It could be a sprinkle or two, but not a big deal with that. Southwest wind still blowing tonight. It's going to be a breezy night at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's the forecast tomorrow for your Wednesday, February 25th. Again, maybe a sprinkle or two in the morning, but I think most of us will dodge that. Very dry air that would have to try to work through to get to the ground. So I think we're going to be overall partly cloudy tomorrow, 47 at noon, 55 for the afternoon high. So that is 4 degrees above normal. Not too bad. Sunrise 7:20 and our sunset at 6:32. Hey, we got some love for the jokes from Beverly Haggis, from Lily and Lasley. And hey, even Connie gave me some LOLs there. And 44, Teresa says 44 is okay. I agree. That is just okay. We're going to do better than that, though. We've got a little bit of light rain Thursday morning. I think we'll dry out Thursday afternoon. And so not all bad there, not a washout with that. And then we're looking at 56 on Friday, looking pretty good there. And even better as we have a fantastic finish for February, an FFF. Fantastic February finish. 64 degrees Saturday. And then March 1st, 50 degrees. Will March enter like a lion and exit like a lamb, or vice versa? I would say rain's not a big deal. I don't see any severe weather with it. It's just going to be kind of blah, I guess you would say. Temperatures could be fairly mild. We are going to have, it looks like early next week, a stationary front over the region. If you get a little north of that, you could be rather cool in the 40s. If you get a little south of that, you might be in the 60s. So there could be a big temperature gradient early next week. So I think you're going to see those temperatures fluctuate a little bit as we go day by day, and we fine-tune that forecast for early next week because of the stationary front over the area. With that stationary front, we're going to have some scattered showers from time to time as well next Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. But stay tuned as we look at the long-range data, as we go on Ben on a Limb. You're going to see maybe the biggest warm-up we've seen so far this year. So we've got some positive news on the way here for you. It's 10:18, so we're almost up to 10:20. That's typically when we fire up the weather graphics, and that is what we're about to do here. Just a quick reminder, too, I forgot to mention this, that whenever you want, you can reach me at ben@extolmag.com for any advertising marketing solutions or any kind of a deeper weather question you want to dig into. You can email me right there as well. So just another heads up. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're just looking at a mostly cloudy sky, some high clouds, providing a little bit of a thin veil and filtering out some of that sunshine here this morning. As I do a good old refresh, there's a goofy weather person, and our temperature at 25 degrees. So it has been a cold start, but it gets a little bit better. We're going to be about 20 degrees warmer by this afternoon as we kick in those southwest breezes. The radar and satellite showing the high clouds kind of streaming in from the northwest. If we want to do a quick analysis, we've got strong high pressure here looking great along the Gulf Coast. We've got strong low pressure here to the north and strong low pressure here. That was the blizzard over the northeast. So in between, we still have these lines of equal air pressure that are packed pretty tightly together. So you're going to get high pressure air flowing out of high pressure toward the low pressure. So that's why we're going to have, instead of a north breeze today, we're going to have a south breeze for today and tomorrow. And so air likes to flow. High is a friendly guy. High is a friendly guy. High gives its air to low pressure. And since the world is spinning on its axis, we have the Coriolis effect. And so as the air is trying to move directly to the center of low pressure, it gets kicked to the right. And so it enters it in a counterclockwise fashion until it goes towards the center. So it looks like a little swirl in a cyclonic or counterclockwise fashion, while air is flowing in a clockwise fashion out of high pressure. There you go. Those are the dynamics of high and low pressure, and what guide why we have weather and why we have wind is because the difference between high and low pressure. There's our little explainer of the day. All right, let's move right along here. Let's bring up I say let's bring up the NAM weather model and look at our next rain chance. And then I'm just focused on the warm up next week. I'm looking for some good weather here. I'm looking for the positive vibes in the forecast. The model of choice here, I'm just going to fire up the NAM. It did not show much precipitation with this system here midweek, late tomorrow into Thursday. So let's take a look at it. And we'll go to, so today is the 24th. This showing a little sprinkle chance, but I think a lot of that's not going to be able to touch the ground because of how dry the air is. But we've got this little tiny system moving through. And again, I don't like that version of it. I just don't think. Can we squeeze out a sprinkle later on tonight as this moves through? Maybe, but again, the air is very dry at the surface. So I'm going to say probably not. But again, we're looking mainly dry through tomorrow. Pretty quiet here this afternoon. This is 6 p.m., but notice there's just a tiny bit of green there. I think that's going to be Virga, Virga. That is precipitation that falls from the cloud, but then evaporates before it hits the ground. So no big deal with that. And this shows just, I'm going to precip type this. It shows some snow off to our east. And can we get a sprinkle chance out of that? If you're up early tomorrow morning, you might encounter a sprinkle. Maybe a sprinkle as that little disturbance moves through. But again, no big deal there. We're going into tomorrow afternoon here. And that is bad data there. Most of our Wednesday is going to be dry. And just a tad bit warmer. Let me bring up the temperature map here. And showing some 50s. So a little bit better tomorrow in the 50s instead of the 40s. And then we go back to the reflectivity. And let's go to tomorrow night. So we're seeing the system, not well organized, but it's enough to give us a little bit of light precipitation. This is into midnight tomorrow night, going into Thursday morning. Some basically light rain beginning to move into the area. Let's go to 7 a.m. Thursday morning, the 26th. Again, just showing some light rain there. That's the NAM 3 kilometer. Here's the NAM weather model. Let's see if it'll bring up any precipitation. Oh, oops. I need to go forward in time here. Here's the GFS weather model. So it's got a little bit of light rain Thursday morning, and then it kicks it out pretty quickly here. It actually gives us mostly dry conditions for Thursday afternoon. So not bad there. Okay, that moves on out. I'm going to jump ahead to, it looks like we got a dry weekend. I'm going to go to, let's go Sunday night for maybe the next chance of some precipitation. That's going to be our March 1st. Here's 10 p.m. Sunday night. We got a system flying to the north. And some of that might be a little bit mixed. Let me pop the, yeah, see, you got some, the Hoosier State's kind of divided here. You got snow north and rain south. And then let me go into Monday morning at around 7 a.m. A little bit of icing is trying to get there. A little sleet, maybe a little freezing rain just north of I-70, but just rain south over most of our area here. This is Monday at 7 a.m. I'm going to go to 4 o'clock Monday. And we've got a stationary front over the region. So if you're south of that front, it is going to be warmer. Look at this. Look at these numbers here south of the front. I'm hoping we stay south of the front because look at that. That is showing some 60s. And then look at this, north of the front, 20s. That is what I'm talking about as far as a range in temperatures there. These fronts this time of the year that get hung up, you got the warm air from the Gulf pushing up sometimes the polar air north and then vice versa. And that battleground can be right over the top of our area. So depending on where you end up on which side of that front, it could be a county or two difference, and there will be a big difference in temperatures early next week there on Monday. So hopefully we win out with the warmer temperatures there Monday. And then we go to Tuesday next week. Looks like a little bit cooler air begins to win, but not bad. That shows some 50s right there. And I think we're about to get into some really good news here. This is what I hope you're waiting around for if you're still watching here this morning is I think we're going to see a lot of this begin to surge to the north a little bit later next week. We've got David Kroom saying, hey, hello, Ben. Thanks for watching here this morning. Connie saying, come on 60s. That's what we're about to look at here. One little sip, and then we're going to break out the good news. Beverly's getting a passport. Where are we going, Beverly, with the passport? Teresa Loxton, good morning to you. And how will the weather be late Thursday? I hear there's an alignment of the planets, visible, no clouds. Yeah, it looks like we will be clearing out. We might, and be careful with those alignments of the planets. Usually they're a big dud, but we can have an update on that here very soon as well. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to the good news. No more delays. Since we're going to go out on a limb a little bit here, that means it's time for Ben on a limb. All right, let's check it out here. So this is March 3rd, next Tuesday, week from now. Let's go to March 4th. What do we see? What do we see? All right, we're still on the cool side, but what we're seeing here is the warm air starting to surge up into the Great Plains. So it's starting to make a move. Let's see what happens here as we go forward in time to Thursday, March 5th. Okay, it is starting to move into our area now. Let's check out the warm up here. So this most likely we're talking 60s there initially. Not too bad. There's much warmer air down here, even some 80s in southern Arkansas. Very nice. All right, let's back it up. Let's watch this warm air wind. We're going to March 6th. That is a Friday. The warm air is making a bigger surge. This would be a stationary front or a warm front to the north. I mean, look at the difference here in Michigan, 20s for highs. And then we've got 70s popping up. Our first 70s of 2026, perhaps by the end of next week. I hope that continues to be the forecast. Let's go to the 7th. So the 7th is, I hope this stays this way because I'm planning to head to the Tailspin Ale Fest at Bowman Field on the 7th. And this would be mighty nice with 60s and 70s still across the area. Why is that having trouble plotting that out? That's such a weird thing. All right. Even near 80 in St. Louis. And then notice the temperature change back out west. This warm up, as always, typically in March, will not last forever. But it looks pretty good there. Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week. That's Saturday, March 7th. Solid warm-up potential. A lot of the data showing this. Euro and the GFS. All right, we're going to go into the 8th. This would be Sunday. And looks like the warm air gets pushed out by cooler air. But not, I wouldn't call it cold. I would just say it's probably kicking us back to normal. Probably a 20-degree drop in temperatures from that Saturday to Sunday, as long as that forecast stays on track. Okay, Monday the 9th. Looks like warm air tries to come right back in. Some 60s there. Look at them in Georgia in the 80s. They're bubbling up some warmer air. So the opposite of when we go into wintertime, up in Canada and the North Pole, they have that feedback loop where they're bottling up colder and colder air. Well, they're starting to bottle up warmer and warmer air with more the sunshine, solar radiation coming in with a higher sun angle. So we're going to start to see these warm bubbles starting to win out more and more that time of the year. All right, so I think this is Tuesday the 10th. If I'm keeping track, look at that. The warm air wins out again, showing some 70s over our area. So that would be not next week, but the following week, March 10th. We'll take it. You got to be careful of the early budding, though. If you get these prolonged warm spells this time of the year, that shows us still on the warmer side. That's like I think a Wednesday, March 11th, and then this is as far out as the GFS will go. There still is some awfully cold air up north that we don't want unleashed. We need to keep Old Man Winter and the cold weather monster staying to the north. And for me, that's what I want. Here's a look at the 500 millibar winds. These are the jet stream. So the jet stream is this belt of air that will keep that cold air locked to the north as long as it doesn't take a big dive. So it's kind of a flat flow here as we head towards mid-March. That would keep the polar air north. That would keep the warm air south. And it is possible, if we get this dip in the jet stream, we could still have some cold air in the month of March. But I'm crossing my fingers that the warm air wins overall. So there you saw a trend towards some of the warmest temperatures so far this season by late next week. I haven't brought up in a few days the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks. They're a division of the National Weather Service that looks across the United States at the temperature pattern through the long range. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook. We're kind of on the edge of above normal temperatures overall, cooler north. And then as we bring up the 8 to 14 day outlook, let's see if there's any change here. Yes, we like this. I like this. There's a couple of you that don't like this, but this is the long range outlook that takes us into the following weekend that we just looked at, which means warm weather pattern. So the Climate Prediction Center through 2 weeks out has higher confidence in above normal temperatures. So there you go. Could be a nice start to March. So March in like a lamb, perhaps. Out like a lion, however the phrase goes. Maybe that's the case. Whatever it is, we have to take it one way or another, All right, looking at some comments here. We've got a good morning from Linda Lawrence. Thanks for tuning in here this morning. Oh, Beverly's heading to Canada, heading north where it's a lot colder. Hope you have a great trip here very soon. Jerry Keel. Hey, but you pronounced my name right last week. JK's is a lot easier to pronounce. Thanks for the update. You're welcome. Hopefully I pronounced it right again. And I see your comment there, Emmanuel. I want it to be warm, but I don't want the fruit trees and things to bloom too soon. Yeah, exactly the case there, because we can't get those early blooms in March. We can get slapped with frost potential through April, of course, as well. Good morning to Laura DeVore. Jerry, loving that long range temperature forecast. Me too. Gary and Janet Hutchins, do you think Tornado Alley has moved into our area? Maybe not completely, but I think there's a kind of a little nose of it. We've always been kind of on the edge of it, but I think we are getting a little more active in that regard overall. And that could be due to getting a little bit more of a warmer climate over the last couple of decades. I've seen way more record high temperatures than record low temperatures over the last couple of decades. And I've also seen our normal highs tick up a degree or two over the last couple decades as well. If you add more warmth and more moisture, you're going to have more fuel, and that could lead to that trend. So good question there from Gary and Janet Hutchins. Kathy Scott, good morning from Trimble County. Thanks for tuning in here. Well, July would be a good time to go to Canada. I would have personally avoid it right now. Steve Gibbons, especially the cherry and apple tree blooms. Yes, indeed. And Jeanette Pierce, good morning from Litchfield, Kentucky. The weather's looking good overall. Yeah, I think it's still pretty tame for what we can get this time of the year. Of course, we can get anything this time of the year. We can get warmth. We can get severe cold. We can get snowstorms. We can get tornadoes. So if we avoid all of that and just get some rain, we're not doing too bad. Emmanuel remembers Canada before a passport was required. Kathy Scott, it'll be cold till Derby Day. Snow not over with yet. Mark her words. Kathy says, snow not over with yet and cold until Derby Day. Well, I think we're going to have some warm-ups, as we often do this time of the year. But you might be right. There is still that cold weather up in Canada. We saw negative numbers there just north of the border. So it doesn't take much for that jet stream to buckle down our way and give us some of those cold shots there. Thanks for all your comments, by the way. Love the conversation here this morning. And we will do a forecast recap. 10:37. We've been yapping. We've been yapping away here this morning. And I want to take another live look outside here this morning as well. Let's bring up the camera view. Still looking at just kind of a mostly gray sky, a little milky looking because of the thin veil of high clouds that are drifting over us. That'll be around today, but you'll see a little bit of that sunshine and some current conditions here. We're now at 29 degrees, wind at 12. That puts our wind chill at 20. And so looking at the little weather variables here with the current conditions on the right, there's also your daily weather here, by the way. You get your 7-day forecast, 7 to 8 day forecast. And then our hourly forecast here as well throughout the day. That's just sunny, but I would say some high clouds in there, obviously, as well. We've got the brand new 7-day forecast here posted up for you that you can check out all the time as well. All right, let's get to the forecast. In case you're popping in a little bit later, a little bit warmer in the 40s today, a little bit warmer tomorrow in the 50s. And we'll see 60s on Saturday. But before that happens, a little bit of light rain late Wednesday into Thursday. There might be a sprinkle chance tonight into tomorrow morning, but I think a lot of the area will be dry. We have some very low dew points, very dry air in place at the moment. In fact, we can bring up the current conditions, and what the dew point is right now is at 20. So when you warm up a little bit, you keep those dry dew points, you've got very low relative humidity, and it's kind of hard for any precip to make it to the ground. Anyway, mostly dry conditions through tomorrow. Again, here's some of the events coming up. We got Tailspin Ale Fest on March 7th. That's a Saturday. And if you looked at our long-range outlook, we've got a nice big warm-up for that. Hope that stays in the forecast. And then hopefully it'll be nice as well. A week later, Saturday, March 14th, from 3 to 8 p.m. is the St. Patrick's Parade. Looking forward to that as well. And then a little bit after that is Jessica's Journey Foundation benefit concert at Melwood Arts Center, April 4th, with live music from Juicebox Heroes and the Suburbans. And they get not live, but food trucks and also drinks there for you too. Time change is just 12 days. And we'll be getting those 8 p.m. sunsets in this coming month very soon. Spring beginning in less than a month, 24 days, March 20th. Thunder over Louisville in 53 days, Derby Day in 67 days. Our weather history, the one that stands out is the local one here for us. 2017, Louisville sets the first 80-plus degree temperature in the month of February with a high of 81. Our stupid weather jokes of the day. I took my daughter to take your kid to work day. She asked, "Where's all the clowns you said you work with?" We got some fire trucks rolling by here in uptown New Albany at the Extol Media Studios. If laziness was an Olympic sport, I'd get 4th place just so I wouldn't have to walk up to the podium. Now that's lazy. What did the digital clock say to the grandfather clock? Look, no hands. And your forecast today, 44 degrees, some of the high clouds out there filtering out our sunshine. Still a little bit breezy. Some of the winds around 10 to 20. There could be some gusts a little bit higher than that. South wind at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Hey, we got a little sunshine for Laura DeVore in Valley Station right now. And it's going to be a cool beginning to, yes, I've just heard that it's going to be, where are you getting this information, Kathy? Where are you getting it? I haven't heard that. Lily and Lasley, have a great day. Oh, Jerry, thank you very much. And I'll take 80 degrees. Yeah, someday we'll get that. Hey, we got an LOL there from Laura as well. So there's our day today. Tonight, 39 degrees, not as cold, mostly cloudy, breezy, maybe a sprinkle, not a big deal. And the winds will stay at around 10 to 20 overnight. And tomorrow stays a little bit breezy. We've been in a breezy pattern here. 47 at noon, 55 for the afternoon high tomorrow. And I think we'll see a little bit of light rain developing tomorrow night and into our Thursday morning. Shouldn't be much out of that. I'd say 1/4 inch or less. And then actually the GFS is drying us out pretty quickly. So there actually might be a pretty decent amount of Thursday that's dry, especially in the afternoon. And then 56 Friday looks quiet. Again, a triple F, a fantastic February finish for my alliteration friends. 64 Saturday with some sunshine there, and then a little bit cooler Sunday at 50. A little bit unsettled. We could see some rain back in the picture Monday, Tuesday. Those temperatures could be warmer or cooler depending on your location early next week, because I think a stationary front is going to set up over the area. So that would mean you could be in the 20s in northern Indiana and in the 60s in Kentucky. Like, it's going to be a sharp contrast in temperatures early next week. So that'll be very interesting to watch. Orlean, you have an enjoyable afternoon as well. Thank you very much. We'll be working, but we'll be enjoying our work later on today. Hey, we want to bring up again, just a quick mention that the Ohio River, don't be surprised if it looks a little bit swollen. It is a little bit above normal. We looked at these pages last April, if you remember, a lot. The Ohio River gauge here at the McAlpin Upper, it's at about 16.5 feet, kind of peaking right now with a little crest, but that is still about 7 feet below flood stage. But it is about 4.5 feet above its normal levels. So just a little bit swollen with the Ohio River. Again, it is Tuesday. We want to thank our partners here at Ivy Tech Community College. ivytech.edu is where you can kind of get started right away. They've got a lot of resources here, but if you want to get that one-on-one personal touch, you can go right here to Tuesdays at the Tech, get that in-person assistance, how to get started at Ivy Tech, registering for classes, career development, how to pay for college. And if you're ready, you can register right there. And you can also register an RSVP for Tuesdays at the Tech. Boom, right there as well. Also want to thank our partners here at Grantline Nursery and Garden Center. Friendly folks, family owned for over 45 years. The Stumlers, Brooklyn Stumler, the greenhouse nursery expert manager, is busy right now getting all those plants growing. They've got over 100,000 annuals. Pansies are ready to go for you right now if you want to get some color on your front porch or your back deck. The plumber to call throughout Kentucky is Clogbusters with a Z, clearing the way one flush at a time. You can see their awesome webpage right here if you want to learn a lot more about their services. And you can also get connected in the bottom right-hand corner right there. Lions Roofing, our roofing partner, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. They're reminding you if you had any hail issues, hail damage from the March 15th storm of 2025, a lot of insurance companies give you that 1 year to make that claim. So if you want to get your roof checked out, you might want to get a free quote. You can call them now, 812-294-3595, or your gutter system. You can also see their services, their reviews right here online as well. And we had our 2-Tip Tuesday from Michael Long at American Family Insurance. You can go to amfam.com, search Michael Long. It'll take you to his page. Proud to be an American Star certified agency. Excellence in customer experience, 812-578-3072. What was the 2-Tip Tuesday? Were you on the show earlier? It is this. Number one, the age of your roof is a rating factor with most insurance carriers. The newer the roof, the lower the premium. Contact your insurance company to make sure your policy has the correct roof age to ensure you're maximizing your savings opportunities. The life tip, number two, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in your fruit salad. There's our wisdom from Michael Long here for today. The second one, usually a little bit on the funny side. Hey, tomorrow's Wednesdays with Weddington. If you have any questions for Brad Weddington, local custom home builder, or if you want to get started on your dream home, you can go to weddingtoncustomhomes.com. You can get all linked up right there. I even got a testimonial on there from our house. And Libs Paving. They might be actually helping my mom pave. She's got gravel and she's wanting an asphalt driveway. But I mentioned them because they've got a career section up here in the upper right-hand corner. If you want an opportunity here, you know somebody that needs an opportunity, you might have them apply now. Available employment opportunities where you can apply there online. That is Libs with a B, L-I-B, B as in Ben, S, paving.com to get hooked up right there. Again, thanks to all of our partners out there. This is the Falls, the Ohio Foundation.org camera. You see the water over some of the stumps, the trunks of the trees. So it is a little bit higher than normal. Again, not to be alarmed. It is normal. And it is Flood Awareness Week. Remember this time last year, I guess it was late March into April, we started to see the Ohio River go crazy. But if you go to our local National Weather Service, weather.gov, and then click on our area, you'll see some of the weather information. They've got a spring hydrological outlook, which is the flooding outlook, basically. And from what I read, our flooding chances are at normal. So is that good or bad? We'll just have to wait and see. If we end up getting a stationary front that just dumps and dumps and dumps and dumps and dumps for days at a time, which can happen this time of the year, then you got some flooding chances. But hopefully that doesn't happen. It's something that we always have to kind of keep an eye on this time of the year for sure. Carol said, I'll take those 60s any day. I think you're going to like the 7-day forecast next week. So something good to look forward to this time of the year. Laura said, I'd forget to water this time of the year. Yeah. And then you'd also have to, maybe if we got down to the 20s or below freezing, maybe have to take them in as well. But hey, the pansies are ready to go at Grantline Nursery. We're ready to go as well. Thank you for liking or sharing or subscribing or following. It helps out the views so much here. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for dropping in the comments and just saying hello. Thanks for the weather questions. And thanks for being a part of Ben at 10 here every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Again, we'll try to fine-tune that little bit of precipitation that's on the way late tomorrow into Thursday, a bit better. And then we're going to try to keep willing the warmth to come into Kentuckiana here over the next week and a half. All right, and that's what we'll be talking about. We'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in.